Oops.
The CPAP mask is, the new necktie on the door. If you want to have the lovin', you're in bed and it's like, I'm gonna take my mask off.
That's right.
And you don't turn it off either. You leave it blowing, you just throw it over on the floor.
Did you realize when you were 400 pounds how bad that you felt?
God, no. What was that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he gets sent to
True
prison?
Lies.
No.
Oh, no.
Total Recall?
No.
Conan the Barbarian?
Twins.
No.
Kindergarten Cop.
Friday? Tell us about the cat paw. Now, you're over here in a
Paw.
Tennessee shirt, but you're an LSU fan.
No. God,
No.
no.
She's
What is
an-
wrong
What
with
is
you?
wrong? It's fixing the. I wore this shirt on purpose.
Y'all get it all out. Go ahead. Get out all your
You're
frustration
not
because I
an
made a
LSU
mistake.
fan? To set the record straight, this is not an LSU cat paw.
This is not an LSU cat paw.
Gotcha.
This is just the most awesome cat paw ever.
Yeah, I can't think of any reason why I would think he's a f***ing LSU fan when he's over here with a Bengal stripe
he's like
cat
bright
paw.
orange.
Can you
You're
read
holding
this?
a purple and yellow tiger paw. Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast, episode number 55 with Gary Papa G. Cail. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com, or go to our YouTube channel, subscribe there, and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. How was that? I feel like I got a little backwards in there.
It sounds like you're nailing it.
Sound like I'm nailing
You've
it.
done this enough now to where you sound like a professional.
Thank you very much for that. That means a lot. And I'm sitting here next to my fantastically wonderful PhD having, Tough Mudder running, obstacle course thrashing, 50-mile competing, an awesome mothering person to our children.
More adjectives.
A lot of them.
But I'm doing pretty good.
And her face is not blocked.
And visible,
Right. Important.
Visible.
jacked and tan, Dr. Amanda Kimsey Horrell. I feel like I could have done better.
When you edit this podcast, put applause.
Right.
Right
The-
there.
the-
I imagine applause.
In the background. Right. Crowd goes crazy kind of stuff.
Thunder bomb. Should I put some cannons?
Yeah.
I've got cannons.
Yeah, the more the merrier.
Okay, I can do
I
that.
gotta correct you. I don't have a PhD. I have a PharmD.
I was wondering that. As I was saying that, is it? I didn't know if it was PhD.
Oh well, wow! You just
Farm
lost a lot of cool points with me.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it
I
was
feel
just
like
a
you should do the whole
Farm
thing
D.
over. I think you should start over from the beginning.
You're the first person that's ever corrected someone on something like that. You're Dr. Horrell. Good enough. I'm not. And I have sitting across from me the 50-mile runnering, soon to be 100-mile runnering, the newly full-timely employed database computer whiz internet master of all things, the Reverend Vaughn Rawls.
That's me. And then you can put something else other than applause after you do that right here.
What do I put for you? No, we don't want to do that.
No, but like maybe some like a little hallelujah
Yeah.
something.
Should we point out that we have
No, she'll freak.
that we have Stacy Cail working the camera and doing a wonderful job of it. She's active. She's on it. And, since we're talking about beautiful women over here with Amanda Horrell and people that have married up in their lives,
Check.
I think that Gary Papa G. Cail certainly qualifies for that.
You wanna market something? We should write a book on how you marry women this good looking when you look like us.
I have that in my notes.
Yeah, we should work on that.
Welcome
together.
to the Marry Up podcast.
Right.
You can find us on iTunes and at marryup.com.
Yeah.
We would be much more successful doing that.
Yeah.
We're sitting here screwing off on a fitness podcast when we could be making a killing.
For $19.95 a month, we'll teach you how to talk to women.
For over 12 months, though. Yes, over 12 months. That's
Right, and the fee
12
goes
month
up each
commitment.
month.
Now, and look, you tier it, right? If you want a chick that's just one level hotter than you, $9.95 a month. That's right. You want a chick that's 3, it's $39.95. But if you act now,
This is sounding better all the time. I think there's a market for it.
that's right.
We can do that. What's going on, gang? I've got reviews. I've got a review,
I was waiting on those.
but I only got one,
That's okay.
and I'm going to need someone to do me another one for next week, or else I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
Well, what did you do that time? You got like 5 you had to read.
I begged, and I also said that I would send them a buff headband.
Did you do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I have a pretty good track record of doing what I say I'm going to do.
Well, let's go do it.
I did it for the people who requested it. Some people are like, they're close enough to where if they want a headband, they can call me. All right, well, let me give you this review. This one is a killer review. And this is by Skittlebrow. In the last year, I've lost 200 pounds. Now, the LHRL podcast did nothing to make that happen. And as much as I wish I could attribute it to these great folks, but after losing a ton of pounds, I wanted to get active. I started lifting weights, but for the first time in my life, I wanted to run. Everywhere I looked said, don't lift lots of weights if you want to run, and don't run if you want to lift lots of weights. They are counter to each other. After much web surfing and podcast listening and trying to find a training plan with running and lifting, enter Lift Heavy, Run Long. The place that not only says it's okay to do both, but actively encourages it. I'm instantly hooked and a fan for life. It's a fun and entertaining show as well. I'm always excited to see the new and amazing ways that Wilson will introduce his wife each episode. I love hearing about races and adventures and workouts. It's so refreshing because it feels like there's no agenda or push here, just sitting around chatting about lifting and running, but without being preachy or elitist or hard to follow. I hadn't lifted or ran for 30 years before a few months ago, and these people make me feel like I am welcome to join them. The inclusive feeling just can't be fully put into words. If a few episodes of LHRL doesn't make you want to come grab a barbell and then go running, you aren't paying attention. Thanks to the three of you and your many guests for giving some motivating listening material to my 5K training sessions.
Look at that. That's quality over quantity right
That's
there.
pretty good
Yeah.
right there, I got to tell you.
That's one of my favorite reviews.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's probably the best review we've ever gotten.
I think you're right. Very moving.
Skittlebrow.
Skittlebrow.
Hey, Chris Perry says he's gonna record us weekly starting in 2 weeks.
He's going to do what?
He's gonna record. He's gonna cameraman. He heard us talking about getting a cameraman. He said he's gonna do that.
Well, all right.
How about that?
I think he should.
Yeah. Moving on up.
So until then, Stacy's going to be our cameraman.
For this week, Stacy's gonna be a cameraman, and as often as she's willing to come back, which I think is pretty often. What do you do on Thursdays?
Well, you just fired her.
Yeah, exactly. You just told her she's getting replaced next week by Chris Perry.
I want her to want it. I want her to want it. That's how you get her to really do a good job this week, and then next week she'll be back on here, and we'll be competitive.
So you may could turn the whole thing into a competition between her and Chris.
Yeah, and then we'll have 3 cameras.
Right.
For too long, we'll have somebody that will edit it and take care of all of it. Tunnel Hill training. Everybody doing good? Tunnel Hill 50-mile, 100-mile training.
I'm hanging in there. It was birthday week for me, so I'm kind of milking that for a little bit. But I ended up running 8.4 miles.
I saw some gravy cheese fries.
Oh, poutine fries.
What was
Where
that?
were you at?
Dirty Crow
Never heard of it.
downtown.
It looked good.
It is a dive Well, from the outside, you can't tell. Like it looks like you wouldn't even go in this place probably. But when you go in, it's not so bad, and the food is really good in my opinion. So check that out.
It looked really good.
Downtown Memphis.
Is it all like greasy
Oh yeah.
food? Okay.
Well, I had chicken wings. I had
Okay.
wings, and they were really good. So it's not too terrible. I mean, you can go in there and have chicken wings, which would be better than having a cheeseburger and poutine fries. Fries, which is French fries with gravy.
Amanda,
I'm not doing too good with the training.
why is that?
I didn't do anything near the running, that kind of running this past week. I ran, but I didn't do the interval stuff.
So you missed Monday and Wednesday,
Yep.
and then you're going to do a barbarian challenge. I think that counts for something.
Yeah, I think that counts for something. I've been super good about doing my CrossFitting every day and doing some extra running on the side, but not the intervals. But I'm going to do my 6 miles this weekend with my obstacle course. So I'm hoping that'll buy me out of some of my debt that I have for not doing this week's interval work.
That'll be your punishment.
Good.
You'll punish yourself with 6 miles of obstacles.
We have a lot of time left.
I went and did intervals yesterday with Sean Hillsden.
Oh yeah.
It was hot.
It was hot. It was.
I don't think I do intervals very well. I don't think I'm aggressive. I don't think I'm intense enough on my intervals to get out of them what I should.
That could be.
Are you supposed to be intense on them?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
Well, I mean, I'm more intense.
run 'em.
It seemed like it was a really important question yesterday.
You should run a
It was-
400 meter. You should run 400 meter intervals faster than you run a 5K.
I mean, I'm not going to hurt myself
Pace.
over it.
You know.
I guess I need to.
Well, I mean, I know it's supposed to be sprintier, but then I worry about getting gassed out too quickly. And so then by the time I get to the end, my 400s are like the same pace as my 5K would be.
Right. That's why I like to start people at 100s. You'll see a lot of like in the beginning 100s on the minute. Run as fast as you can and just keep them there and then gradually move up. But yeah, it should be fairly intense.
Oh.
It's what high intensity interval training.
I've been doing more running, and I'm feeling better in the running department. Feeling good there. Tunnel Hill documentary coming along nicely.
You get videos?
67 is what I
Yeah,
have.
I don't know if you've gotten it yet, but Brian and I did a pretty good video after we ran on his birthday the other day.
I haven't looked at. I've looked at very few. I just downloaded and processed those into Final Cut Pro yesterday.
I heard y'all had to do a retake. Was that y'all that recorded and didn't record, so you had to go back and record
No,
again?
that was
Okay.
on the run he did with April and them, and I
Okay.
was not there.
Gotcha.
We went and ran 4.2 for his birthday, came back up to his apartment, and Lynn shot a long video, probably 2 videos of us talking about Tunnel Hill.
Did you not turn the camera sideways? Is that what
No,
happened?
she turned it sideways. I made sure of it.
I thought you had to do it over again.
No, we didn't have to do it over
No,
again.
I guess
That
he was talking about April and them.
Oh, okay.
She's talking about on a trail run. He clicked the button, and they did a whole video for like 5 minutes, and he was on camera, so he just took a picture of him instead of taking a video.
I should probably keep this to myself, but I had to record my first video about 5 different times because I was not aware that you could switch the camera to face the other way. So I would do it and then just turn it on faith and hope that I was recording
What?
myself.
How long ago was that?
This was like 2 weeks ago.
When you retell that story, say it was 2 years ago that you figured that
Should
out.
I cut that out?
It was like when I
entirely?
first got my camera.
Gary's like, yeah,
No,
definitely.
you did that 2 years ago. That's when you learned that 2 years
But not everybody sticks their face in the camera as much as I have, so I can't really.
I've done more face sticking in the past week. I've done a lot of face sticking in the past year with this. No.
He can't. I'm not allowed to do it on this show.
Okay.
Or just in general.
What?
It's just he's begging for that's what she said.
Oh, I got you.
And it's just so much. There's so many opportunities.
Yeah, I
You
can't.
pretty much lobbed that one up there. Now
Yeah.
that's
was
why
a
I was
soft-
I'm throwing
shocked.
softballs.
that was
I'll
a
give you
softball.
that.
Yeah. it was-
I'm throwing softballs.
all right. Well, listen, now I know.
We got Papa G with us. I want to hear about Papa G. You brought some props. You've lost a load of weight in your life.
I have.
Yep.
And have some ways to go, but yes.
I want to hear about that.
You want the long version or the medium version?
I got nothing but time. Probably the medium version. I don't have that.
So I'll give you the medium version. So I was, well, for starters, I like the word fat. I do not like obese or overweight. Those are oppressive to me. I'm a fat guy. I've always been a fat guy. But I've been fat since I was 6 or 7 years old. So to say that it's not a lifestyle, that's just the way it always was. So part of the issue was realizing that I even could do anything about it. And you fast forward off into my early 30s, and I don't know officially. I just know that I was over 400 pounds. That's what I know. I couldn't give you an exact number, but I actually slipped on the ice one night and broke my ankle. My ankle spun all the way around, was pointing the other way.
Oh.
I broke both the tibia and the fibia that hold your foot in.
How?
Yeah. And so that was a 13-week after the surgery plus recovery. I've got like a steel plate and 2 bolts and 6 screws holding this ankle together. It's my bionic ankle, and it's fine. But what happened was, when all that was done, atrophy had set in, because I pretty much laid in bed for 12, 13 weeks. I had a cast from my toe to my hip after the surgery, and then the rehab and everything like that. And I was just exhausted. I was in sales. I was out in the world every day. I was coming home at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was exhausted. Then the second thing that happened, which relays into the prop that I brought, a good friend of mine got married. So, guys do, it's like, I got to go grab the suit, and I got to have it let out a little bit, of course, because I haven't worn it in forever. And I realized at that point that I was so big that I had to have the buttons sewn into the pants for the suspenders, the real suspenders that button in. And so I wore that suit to the wedding. I've got some pictures of that in my before album on Facebook. But I had to wear suspenders and a belt to hold those pants up. And I decided that I didn't want to be that fat guy that had to wear suspenders and a belt just to keep his pants up. And that's where it began.
And so you say that you've been fat your whole life. Was there ever a time that you tried to do anything about it? Was this a lifetime spent beating your head against the wall and trying different diets and trying different activities, or was it just something you accepted as this is the way that I am, this part of life?
It's just the way that I am. It's the way that it was. As a matter of fact, years before that, of course, I had bad back. My back always hurt all the time. I was going to a chiropractor, a friend of a friend, and he was actually a nutritionalist. And he had me do the whole nutritional journal and all of this other stuff. And I remember this vividly. We're sitting in his office, and he pretty much asked me those questions. He goes, what have you done in the past to lose weight? I'm like, absolutely nothing. And he goes, well, do you think that we could put a meal plan together that you could potentially lose weight? And I really thought about it for a while, and this is the reality. And I don't know if this is screwed up in the head or not, but I remember telling him, the idea of being skinny scares me. I'm a big guy. I've always been the big guy. When I walk in the room, people know it. And granted, it was because I was 400 pounds, but it was almost part of my confidence. And the idea of being skinny was terrifying to me. And I remember he laughed. He said, God, I wish everybody had that positive of an outlook of themselves. And I was like, well, I know it's not healthy, but that's, so that was part of it too, was just realizing that it's not part of who I am, and it's not part of my confidence. So
that must have been a tough thing to let go. If you felt like that, I can see where, I know the feeling of your size being, I've hid behind my size and hid behind my angry look and tried to do the tough guy thing just as a way to keep people at bay. But mine is just masking fear.
Absolutely.
And I could see where, and you worry about, am I still going to be funny? Are fat guys only funny, or can lighter guys be funny too? What changes? So I can to some degree relate to, losing part of yourself. You lose part of yourself,
right? And it's, in a really warped again sort of way, I guess. Being the big guy was self-serving in that it covered up all the insecurities of being fat, right? If you owned it, then you took that power away from anybody else to make fun of you or take a shot at you. And if you used it to your advantage, and I did in life and business and everything else. I mean, hey, big guy, the big guy's here. That's the reality. So it was a lot mentally just to get past that, and then to try to get into, doing any kind of physical exercise to lose the weight.
I'm guilty of what you just said, in the fact that I throw out the first pot shot to myself before anybody else can do it. Right. If there's a compliment coming or if there's something going well, I make sure that I point out the flaw before you can get to it. The flaw in myself, the self-degrading, which is often, used as a sense of humor, but it's also there because I'm afraid somebody's going to point it out, and that will make me sad.
Oh, I already put it out there, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say it. I've already said it. You can't use that joke.
Right.
You're stealing my joke.
You have robbed them of that power to hurt you at that point.
Correct.
That's right.
Correct.
So so moving on, the first thing I did was for Lent, for being the good Catholic boy that I am.
This is the same year that you.
This is the same year that from the wearing the suit and the suspenders and the whole 9 yards. Like, okay, I got to do something. So I gave up drinking everything for Lent, coffee, soda, the whole 9 yards, and I lost about 20 or 30 pounds over that 40-day period. but then you go to the numbers, right? Couple of tall Dr. Peppers with a couple of refills at every single lunch, 3, 4, 5 2 liters of Dr. Pepper throughout the week, 2 Starbucks a day, maybe sometimes 3 at 900 calories at a venti white mocha. I mean, there were sometimes I was getting 2,400 calories just out of Starbucks in a day. And so I cut all of that out. And I was actually able to, for the most part, to cut that. I mean, I'll have a Starbucks every once in a while. We'll have soda on vacation, right? Soda is something I have once, maybe twice a year now. But I never really went back. That's sugar-free Kool-Aid right there. I mean, that's where I get my taste. So that was the first step, and then it was like, oh, okay, this is something I can do, and from there it went.
What flavor of Kool-Aid is it?
That is actually a mixture of strawberry and lemonade.
Okay.
It's making my own homemade.
I like
strawberry
that.
lemonade. I was on grape for like 2 years.
Grape?
Grape.
Oh, I love grape. That's my favorite. Yeah.
I'm with you on the strawberry and lemonade, but I'm not so sure about the grape.
No, I'm horrible.
Grape Kool-Aid.
Like, I'll be on this for 2 years. I will drink this every day for 2 years, and then one day I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to go back to grape.
Soft drinks are the only bad habit that I have not had. That's the only unhealthy thing that I can think of that I've never been somewhat addicted to. I like soft drinks, okay. I drank 2 Code Red Mountain Dews this weekend that was so out of character for me. It's so, I probably have, 6 Cokes a year. And every time I drank one, I'm like, and then I just burp for an hour.
Yeah.
And I hate myself for it.
The funny thing about when I cut out the sodas, and even again, that was probably 10 years ago at this point. To this day, my dentist will still tell me, Iron, I can tell you when you quit drinking soda. I mean, because literally, I had fillings all the time. I had crowns all the time, and haven't had one since.
Really?
Since I quit the sodas. And because he's been my dentist since I was like 13 years old. And whenever I go in for my checkups and he'll come look and he'll go, doing good. He goes, I can tell you when you quit. It was like 2009 or whatever it was,
Was booze ever a problem blowing you up?
I don't think so. That drinking was always clear stuff. So gin and vodka, and nobody likes Gin Gary because Gin Gary gets confrontation.
And nobody wants to be confrontational with.
No,
not with a 400-pound man. They don't.
No, and sometimes my lovely wife wants to see that. She's like, "Oh, get him some gin." I was like, "You don't want." Nobody wants to see Gin Gary. So, so
the problem is there's no off button to Gin Gary.
No. Some people say he's fun. I just haven't met any of those people.
They always say it after the fact.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we had a great time at your house. We're never coming back.
And so you go from 400-pound Gary to not drinking sodas, Gary, and you're down to
370. Call it 380, 370, somewhere through that.
Are you exercising? Are you feeling better?
I'm not exercising, and so that's the next step. So how do I exercise? I'm 30-something years old. I've never set foot in a gym. I don't know anything. So being the educated person I am, I go to the DAC, which is the ATC right here, the old DAC at the time, and I pay for personal trainer lessons. And that was fine. And that probably got me down, I don't know, let's say that maybe they got me down another 20, 30 pounds, about that. But and I like those guys, and I had really two good trainers over that next period, probably over the next 3-4 years. But those guys are more worried about keeping you as a client and you continuing to pay for the services than pushing you. I mean, you don't get pushed the way we do in the gym at the DAC, at the ATC. Plus, you can't do a lot of the same stuff. So, and not to give those guys a bad name, but they come and go right from gym to gym. I mean, it's one guy, and the next thing you know, he's gone, and you're trying to find out what gym you went to, the guy you like, and so they come and go. So that probably got me down to probably right around 350, I think.
Are you gung ho at this point? Have you had epiphany? Is your life going to change? This is all great.
Yeah, I've also met this really hot chick at the time.
Oh, this is when you met Stacy.
Yeah, this is
there's some motivation,
right? So this is when we were getting pretty serious at the time. We're going on a lot of dates. So the trainer that I had, he actually just got out of the business, quit, and so I wasn't doing anything. And we were both like, because she was going to him too at a private gym. I was like, we got to do something. We got to do something. We got to do something. And to be honest, she's the one that brought up CrossFit. She was like, and we're in the car, and she's like, "Do you ever heard of CrossFit?" And I was like, "Nope, never heard of it before in my life. Don't know what you're talking about." And we sent an email to the website, and somebody responded right away. We went over and literally was talked for a few minutes, and he was like, it was John, and John was like, "Go home and change." We're like, "What?" He's like, "Go home and change. Go home and change. Come right back, and come to whatever it was. Come to the 6 o'clock class." And I've told this story before. It's like it was right in the middle of the 15 Open, and I just remember, on top of everything else,
the 2015 CrossFit Open.
Correct. I'm sorry. Yes, and it was like, but it was up on the board, right? It was like 15.1, 15.2. It was like, and every week it would change, and me and her would be like, "I wonder what that means." Does anybody know? Should we ask? No, we won't ask what that means. And so I never did fundamentals. I never did anything. We came back for that 6 o'clock class, and we signed up that day. And
did you really? You didn't go through any trial period or anything?
No. And the next 50 pounds was all CrossFit. And honestly, I've kind of plateaued out. I guess it's been about a year now. I keep up with everything. I can tell you my weight every month going all the way back to 2009. I've got it on a spreadsheet. But about a year ago, and I told you this, I started tracking measurements: legs, chest, weight, arms, neck, the whole 9 yards, because I wasn't losing any weight anymore. But everything was looser. So even though the weight stayed pretty steady right at 300, I weigh 300 pounds right now, or maybe a little less, but everything's gotten smaller. The neck's gotten smaller, the waist has gotten smaller, the chest has gotten smaller, the arms and legs have gotten a little bit bigger, which is probably the right thing, probably the good thing. So it's, now, and I give Vaughn an awful lot of credit and the other coaches, because I didn't go through fundamentals. But it seemed like for the first 2 or 3 months, I was not allowed to put weight on the bar.
Yeah.
He and I had many conversations where I'd do something and he's correcting the form and he's like, "Well, is that heavy?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's heavy." And he'd look me down the eye and he'd go, "Then take the weight off the bar." And sometimes you even said it just like that. But so I tell a lot of people that are coming to the gym new in fundamentals, that for me, I think is really what got me completely hooked in CrossFit, was not putting any weight on the bar for those first 2-3 months, to work on some ability and to work on some form and to really learn things. And I didn't get burnt out because I couldn't lift something super heavy and things like that.
What about change in energy level? Did you realize when you were 400 pounds how bad that you felt?
God, no. No, that was, again, 400 pounds. It was 100 pounds ago. That was before the sleep apnea was diagnosed, and I got the CPAP machine.
Hell yeah. We got to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. That was the huge thing. That's where
when did you get diagnosed with sleep apnea?
That's a good story. I like this story.
Well, it's a horrible story.
No, it's a great story. Let's talk sleep apnea machine.
All right, so let's talk sleep apnea.
You should have brought your CPAP machine. I would have brought out mine, and we could have compared.
Hey, I read an article on Reddit yesterday They have a mini one now?
Yes.
Did you
That
talk about the
does-
battery
that's the-
operated
There's like
one?
a little
Nose.
battery one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It just said it was a mini one,
Yeah,
so you don't have to
it
carry
just
that.
fits in your nose, but if you open your mouth, it doesn't work. So if you're
Oh.
a mouth sleeper, it doesn't work.
Oh,
If you,
I'm a mess.
as soon as you open your mouth, all the air goes.
Oh,
It's really weird and uncomfortable. And they also say it's like $17 a night is what the batteries cost for it or
Really?
something. They're
Wow.
disposable, which
Really?
means you can use them forever and not really worry about it.
Yeah.
But I think you're supposed to throw them away.
I mean, I've seen the pictures of the thing. I don't know how it stays. I mean, it's like it just sticks in your nose. There's no strap or anything. I don't understand how it works.
Yeah, I don't know how that works either.
Well, tell me how you got diagnosed with sleep apnea.
So the snoring was horrible. So it was keeping Stacy awake. The not breathing was scary. And more, I guess more importantly, when you finally started breathing again. This part of the story I tell is because for anybody that has it, I don't know what the deal is with guys that just want to refuse that they might have sleep apnea. I'm not going to go for that stupid test. What stupid test? You go to bed. I mean, they put wires on your head. You go to sleep. Right? I mean,
that sounds really stupid.
right? It just is. So I would again at that point. This was when was that? 2009, 2010, somewhere through there. It was probably after the first 20 or 30 pounds, and so the getting the CPAP really helped kick off the exercise. And
You were 30 pounds into your weight loss before you went and got
right,
diagnosed with
yeah.
sleep apnea.
Correct. So it the sleep apnea happens so gradually, and you start to make such minor changes in your life to account for it that you don't realize how bad it is, and that goes not just for you but for the people around you. Right. So at the time I worked out in Bartlett and I lived in Olive Branch. That's probably about a 45-minute drive. I could not make it from Olive Branch to home in the afternoon without having to stop and take a nap.
Wow.
So, and it happened so gradually, and you justify everything with yourself. So Stacy actually knew the two places I would stop and take a nap, in case I stayed and slept too long. If it's 7 o'clock at night and I'm not home, we'd worked it out. She knew the two. This is the little whatever parking lot I'd stop, and this is the little church I'd stop at. Yeah. That's how bad it was. I can remember. You know how difficult it is just to drive home on 240. I can tell you there were times driving home on 240 I don't remember it, which makes me think I was asleep while I was doing it.
Uh-huh.
So, she Stacy just says, you got to go. That's it. I'm making the appointment. You're going for the study. Okay, fine. So I go to the study, and the guy puts all the stuff on your head, and I go take a nap like I do. I get up the next morning, it's like 6:30 or 7. Of course, it's a technician. It's not a doctor. And he's like, yeah, the test went fine. I can't, so you ask him, well, how'd it go? And they're like, well, we can't tell you anything. He said, I feel pretty sure you'll get a machine. I said, okay. I didn't know what that meant at the time. So I go home, take a shower, and I head out to work. She gets a phone call about 8:30 because a friend of hers was running the clinic. And I believe the story was his apnea is so bad, if the machine will be ready by 4 o'clock this afternoon, which it normally took 2 weeks.
Right, yeah.
And if he doesn't pick it up by 4:30 this afternoon, the doctor's writing a prescription that says he can't drive a car.
Wow.
So the numbers came out when I went finally, of course I got the machine like I was supposed to, and I started using it, and we'll go back to the doctor. And what happened was, so call it about an 8-hour sleep study. I only did the study for 4 hours. I found out later that the technician called and woke the doctor up in the middle of the night because he thought I was going to die in his clinic. And he just came in, and I remember this, but he just came in and put a CPAP machine on me and stopped the study 4 hours in.
Wow.
And in that 4 hours, it was some ridiculous number. I stopped breathing 300 times in 4 hours. My longest episode was 67 seconds.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, essentially I would breathe for a second and not breathe for a second every minute. I'm sorry. I would breathe for 60 seconds and not breathe for 60 seconds for 4 hours straight.
And what's nuts is the subject has no argument for saying, no, I don't have sleep apnea, or it's not that bad, because you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
And you were talking about falling asleep while you were driving. I can remember sleeping for 11 hours and waking up the next morning at 10:30, 11 a.m. and just having to get up because it was time to get up. Like I had to do something. And I took a shower, I got dressed, and then I laid across my bed horizontally, just exhausted.
Yep.
I went to Fresh Market, and I came out of the Fresh Market and couldn't remember how I got there.
Yeah.
Didn't know where my car was. Just an episode, like like I would imagine Alzheimer's or something to be.
Yeah. A typical day would be to make it through work, take a little 15, 20-minute nap somewhere on the way home, get home around 5:30, go straight to bed, take a nap for about an hour and a half, get up and eat dinner, and be back in bed by 8 o'clock.
Man,
And sleep, air quotes, sleep until the next morning.
I can't imagine stopping on the way home from work to take a nap.
Yeah, you had to. And so the doctor said, this is the part of the story that still freaks me out a little bit. So the doctor said that my sleep apnea was so bad that I probably hadn't gotten any actual REM cycle sleep in months, if not a year. And as you may or may not know, if you don't get REM cycle sleep, your brain will sleep while you're awake, and you will essentially see things, and you will become schizophrenic because your brain you have to dream when you're in deep REM, and if you don't get into deep REM, you will dream while you're awake. So the doctor said to me, I can't guarantee everything you've seen and done for the last year actually happened. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right. So
Do you have any idea how long that takes? Like, how long do I have to spend without that sleep before something like that starts to happen?
I mean, probably 7-8 days, and I did it for the better part of a year. I joke all the time. I have very few memories of 2009. Very, very few. I say it jokingly, but I'll say it very seriously. I have very few memories of 2009.
The number of people that are willing to wear a CPAP machine are very small.
It's insane. The people that come in the hospital, our doctors will point out, you need a sleep study. You have obstructive sleep apnea. You need a machine. Screw that. I'm not doing that thing. I'm not wearing that machine at night. It's like, why the hell not? You'll get a great night's sleep. You'll wake up refreshed. What's your problem? It's a machine. Nobody's going to see you while you sleep at night with that thing strapped on there.
What are the symptoms that the doctor sees to say that to somebody?
Just stop. You stop breathing in your sleep. You have long pauses.
Well, how do you
Huge
know?
snoring.
You snore a lot.
Because nurses go in the room all night. They're constantly like going in there
Oh, I
checking
see.
vitals
Okay,
and stuff. So
gotcha.
they're witnessing all of this
Gotcha.
going on.
Like it's not the way that you imitate someone sleeping and snoring. That's not a normal thing to be doing. That's a dangerous thing.
Right.
Waking up like that is a telltale sign. It's not just someone who snores.
Right.
And I am so lucky. I mean, you're so lucky. I'm so fortunate to be married to someone like Amanda who was so encouraging of that. Because, you start dating someone, you start spending the night with them, and the last thing you want to be like is, all right, baby, let me put this thing on and
put my sexy mask on.
Well, did Amanda point it out for you, or did you have it before you met Amanda?
I had it before I met Amanda, but then she knew about it and was adamant that I wear it because she knows the health benefits of it. And you can ask her, I wake up doing karate in the mornings. I'm so fired up about getting out of bed, and I hated it. Everything about waking up was such a process, and it changes all of that.
It strains everything. It leads into heart failure if you don't do something about it. It
The,
will kill
the
you.
weight loss came.
What was the issue with the blood? What did they call it? Polycythemia. So because I wasn't breathing, and what actually, into very quick terms, everything gets trapped back here in your throat. So you sort of inhale in through your nose. That's the snoring, but the majority of the air goes right back out your mouth. So your lungs don't get all the oxygen you need. So then your blood actually doesn't have all the oxygen it needs in it. Over a year's time, what happens is your blood actually starts to get very thick. At one point in the beginning of this, my blood, the polycythemia, was much like the consistency of jam. So now you start talking about heart failure and stroke and all of this other stuff because of that. There's a lot. I mean, there's just so much that goes into it. The funny end to the story of the CPAP story. So that I do remember this because the memory started coming back. I had my study on a Thursday into a Friday morning. I picked up my machine that Friday, and Friday into the Saturday, I had my first 8 hours of sleep. And I woke up, like you said, bouncing off the walls. And we actually had a youth group thing at the bowling alley that night with my youth group kids from church. And some of the kids came up and asked me what was wrong with me. One of the kids goes, "Are you on cocaine or something?" Because they'd never seen me that awake.
Wow.
They'd never seen me with that much energy and that awake. And I was like, yeah, this is probably who I used to be, before I was an ass.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
And you don't realize you're that tired all the time. And Amanda could tell if I unplug mine at 2 o'clock, and sometimes I just wake up and take it off, or I'll go use the restroom and I'll think I don't want to have it on.
Yeah.
And 2 o'clock in the morning, I'll take it off, and the next day it'll hit me at some point in time. Just that's what it is.
Yeah.
I feel awful because I didn't get any sleep.
So I'll tell even the worst part. I don't know what the official name for this is before it all happened, but before I got the sleep study, before I got the machine, I would wake up in the middle of the night, and it was almost, you can see her face. The only thing I can tell you what it felt like is that my lungs had collapsed in on themselves. So I would wake up trying to gasp for air but couldn't.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it was, as you woke up going, and it's really
Because you haven't been breathing for probably
right
a minute and a half or
and
something.
so it happened way too many times. But the really scary thing is because that's the sound you're making, which is essentially no sound. She doesn't wake up. So I'm standing there, not breathing, trying to inhale. I can't because my lungs feels like my lungs are shut down. So I'm slamming on the bed to get her to wake up.
Wow.
And that happened several times. So it was bad.
And you say you quit breathing for over a minute. Mine was 48 seconds. Trying to hold my breath for 48 seconds prepared
Right.
is a lot of effort. To be, exhaling and then just
Hold it for 60, 67
be done
seconds.
for a minute.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And exhausting,
Yeah.
and to recover from that, and then you don't. And then you just continue. It's like doing a never-ending WOD while you're sleeping. You're just constantly struggling.
And to anybody that won't go get a study or won't get a CPAP, there are a lot of other benefits, especially for the spouses. I can remember the kids telling me they could hear me snoring upstairs.
Oh yeah, my dad. Yeah.
It keeps them up, and Stacy does it to me all the time. We'll be laying in bed, and she's ready to go to bed, or I'm still watching TV, or I'm still watching, playing at the iPad or something. She'll go, "Baby, put on your mask," because it becomes very Pavlovian at that point. I put the mask on, and
Oh yeah.
I'm done.
Yep.
Oh
It
yeah.
doesn't matter.
So once you put the mask on, you're out.
It's it.
I'm done.
It's over with.
It's like-
They might as well have nitrous flowing through
Right.
that thing.
Yeah, it could be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm just irritating the crap out of her. She'll like, put the mask on her.
But there is nothing. There's no chemical in there.
No.
It is a machine.
It's just air pressure.
And
air
it's a
pressure.
very light. It's like 6 psi. It's just a very light blow of air blowing up some pathway that usually shuts off.
So would it be the same? Would it be similar to wearing an oxygen mask, or
No, not at all.
it's not the same thing?
No,
Okay.
it's just regular room air that's pressurized,
Right.
so it pushes through. So your glottis that shuts down and wants to shut off, it keeps it open and lets the air go down into your lungs.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It allows you to breathe and forces you to breathe.
Huh.
Gary told me a story about him. About him losing power.
Oh my
at his
god,
house.
that's the most horrible.
So then you got this mask stuck on you that's depressurized. So there's not only not air blowing in, but you can't.
You're gonna suffocate.
Right.
You
Yeah.
got
He
to-
said he looked
yeah.
like Dracula.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
He sat
Yeah.
up in his
Exactly.
bed.
What do you do about that? That's a real.
He got a generator.
UPS. I got a little
Well, that's
UPS.
what I was gonna say. A battery backup.
I got a
for
battery
the-
backup just for my CPAP machine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have one of those?
I do not.
No,
mean, that
because the
sounds like
other
a
day
scary
he had
thing.
I woke him up because the power went off and I could hear him struggling. I shook him and he ripped that off like he was on Top Gun.
Yeah.
Man.
Ripping that off.
You don't have to wake me up. I mean, when that power goes off, I mean, it's like, I'm done. It's. I know. The fan's still spinning, and I know that the power has gone off. And I've actually taken the UPS camping, so I can plug my machine in and have it at night camping.
You won't
Nice.
catch me at a hotel. If there's an opportunity to use it, I'm using it. I'll take it to the hotel. I'll take it anywhere that I can. I woke
Our
up the
honeymoon,
other
Punta Cana.
our honeymoon.
Yeah, I won't even.
That's romance right there.
I won't even take a nap without it. I just won't. I mean,
I woke up the other morning. Amanda had her finger. And psst, psst. just it's not funny at all. But it was.
The CPAP mask is, the new necktie on the door. If you want to have the lovin', you're in bed and it's like, I'm going to take my mask off.
That's right.
And you don't turn it off either. You leave it blowing, you just throw it over on the floor. That's how you know it's happening. This is happening. The mask has come off.
Yeah, and in my case, you got to make sure you're never out of arm's reach. You got to be able to yank it off and hit the power button.
He turns it off.
No.
I'll reach over and he's like,
Yeah, no. It's like a romance novel. I throw that CPAP mask to the wind.
Do you snore, Vaughn?
I'm a mouth breather, so there's not a whole lot of air that goes through my nose because usually it's
Does mouth breathing significant? Does that point to not having sleep apnea?
I don't know.
I don't know. I wouldn't think that'd be any different. If
He just said,
you had it, you had it.
Gary said, you're breathing through your nose and most of it comes out
back
your
out
mouth.
Yeah.
But there's no air that ever goes in my nose normally.
I mean, they make masks that'll cover the whole face for that. And the humidifiers, I use the humidifier all the time. So
I don't use that.
There's a little water in it, and it keeps everything nice and.
Mine is really my maintenance is bad. Oh my God, I'm definitely. There's many.
Let's not talk about that.
Okay, we won't. You don't want to go into that.
No, the smell alone is. Let's not go there.
Yeah.
So
I can tell you that if I get 8 hours of sleep, if I spend a week, like 7 days, I'm gonna get 8 hours of sleep every single night. On that, it only takes like 4 or 5 days, and I feel like I know what you're talking about. Like I'm jumping up, But if I spend a few days staying up until 11:30 at night, don't get up until then wake up early and go to the gym, and I'd only get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Mm-hmm. It only takes a couple of days, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like dog.
Sleep is so underestimated. I'm on Amanda all the time because she's always busy. She's always got something to do, which is great, but it also gets in the way of her sleep. And I'm 8 hours every night, just about.
Yeah.
I can function on less, but I like to get my sleep, and I'm always telling her to rest and take it easy because your quality of life is just so much better.
Yeah.
When you have sleep, your life is just so much better.
I take my sleep very seriously, and I have the little cheap app that does a REM cycle calculator. So I can press the button as I'm going to sleep now, and it'll say, well, you can wake up at this time or this time or this time or this time. And I will wake up whenever the app says wake up. And just so that I know that I've enough time. So that might mean that I've got an hour to kill before I have to
there's
be
definitely
anywhere.
something to that.
Yeah.
Like
waking up at the end of a cycle. Yeah.
Because I can wake up at like 4 a.m. naturally and be like, hey, what's up?
Yep.
And then I'm like, it's 4 a.m. I got to go back to bed because I don't have to be up until 6. And then I go back to bed, wake up an hour and a half later, and I feel like shit.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're in the middle of a cycle.
Right.
That's right.
Right. I wake up at 6 a.m., 6 a.m., 6 a.m. every day. And if I go back to bed, it may be 10 a.m. before I get up and I feel awful. Or I stay up at 6 a.m. and I feel great.
Yeah.
So it's important.
I want to see the coat,
Oh, you'll be put the coat
Go
on?
get your coat.
please.
Am I allowed
You
to
can
move?
take
No,
it
you
off.
have to
You can take it off.
That's what you
We'll keep the conversation going while you go grab your suit.
Just so you know, your camera died.
Look at that thing. Holy Wow.
Oh, my God. Go walk in front. Go walk in front of the camera. Oh, my golly. Now, you've got a picture of her in your pants with you. Yeah, in a shirt. Wow, that's incredible.
That is incredible.
Jeez. So do you keep that as a reminder? See it in your closet and just...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Hey, I've got some hypothetical questions that were sent to me that I want to ask you.
Just me?
No, all of
Because
us.
he made eye contact again.
Yeah, my friend Will sent me some hypotheticals that I wanted to ask him.
I like hypothetical questions.
Tell us about the cat paw. Now, you're over here in a Tennessee shirt, but you're an LSU fan.
No, God,
No,
She's
what is
an
wrong
What
with
is
you?
it's fixing? I wore this shirt on purpose.
Y'all get it all out. Go ahead. Get out all your
You're
frustration
not
because I made
an
a
LSU
mistake.
fan?
No, she's an LSU
Yeah.
fan.
Oh.
This just happens to be a cat paw
He
with a
married
purple
into
handle.
LSU.
Okay,
Just
so
like
that is
Wilson
not,
married into
to set
Tennessee.
the record straight, this is not an LSU cat paw.
This is not an LSU
Okay.
cat paw.
Gotcha.
This is just the most awesome cat paw ever.
Yeah, I can't think of any reason
is.
why I would think he's a f***ing LSU fan when he's over here with a Bengal
I
stripe
mean, he's like
cat
bright
paw.
orange.
Can you
You're
read
holding
this?
a purple and yellow tiger paw. So Stacy is an LSU fan,
Stacy is an LSU fan.
and you're a Tennessee fan.
and I am a Tennessee fan.
I'll try not to make that mistake again.
And Stacy and I were at the Walgreens the other night, buying some stuff. And this is why Stacy doesn't like to go out in public with me, right? Because we had to wait for the pharmacist, and I got bored. Being a 42-year-old man, the first thing I did was I went to the toy aisle, right, to see what cheap toys there are. And then I went to the as seen on TV aisle, but and I'll get to that in a second. So I saw this cat paw, and I wanted it, and she wouldn't let me have it, which made me angry.
You laid down on the floor.
No. I started chasing her through Walgreens with a half-gallon bottle of vaginal moisturizer, asking her if she needed any vaginal moisturizer. And then I actually started calling her by full name. Stacy Lynn Cail, don't you need vaginal moisturizer? She's like 3 aisles away.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
done with me at this point. But so we did our Father's Day stuff last Sunday because nobody's going to be home this Sunday, and that was one of my Father's Day gifts.
Oh,
Yeah. Also, there's a battery-operated commode light that you hang on the inside of the toilet, and so when it's motion activated, so the toilet bowl will light up for you in the middle of the night.
look
That
at
was
that.
on the only seen on TV aisle. That was
I need one of those. I have the fear of a snake being in the toilet bowl at night, so I have to turn the light on in the bathroom at night just in case it's there so I don't sit and it bite my ass.
that. You should get this thing. They got them at Walgreens.
Which
They're awesome.
which was an irrational fear until 2 days ago when we found a snake in
you
our
had
house.
an actual
That's right.
snake in the house.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a snake in my boot.
Yep, that was pretty scary.
Yep.
Hypotheticals.
Hypotheticals. This was in USA Today. If forced to choose between killing your favorite pet or an anonymous human being,
Anonymous human
Human.
being.
Oh.
Definitely the human being.
Human.
Yep. Without even thinking.
you got to
twice.
kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they don't just die. It's not one of those where somebody you don't know dies. You gotta knife them.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Vaughn's on the fence.
No, my brain is. There's a movie. There's a movie where this. What's the name of this movie?
Give me some more details.
This guy comes in. So one day the lady's in her kitchen. This guy comes to the door, and he's got half a face. I don't think it's a comic book movie. And he's got a briefcase with $1 million in it. And he sits down at the table with the lady, and he says, "I'll give you $1 million, but what's going to happen is if you accept it, somebody that you don't know is going to die. Right? You have 2 days to make your decision, right?" And so her and her husband talk about it, and well, should I spoil it?
Yeah, because I don't know.
I'm not
Yeah, I say spoil it.
I don't know what the name of the movie is, but her and her husband talk about it. He loses his job that day. Something happens at work, and they're like in this dark place, and they're like, "We're gonna just take the $1 million, and we won't even know the person that dies." And so the guy comes back, gives him the briefcase, takes his little box. There was a box. That's right. There's a button in a little box that he gave him, and if they push the button, they take. And he's an engineer, so he takes the box apart, and he's like, "There's not even anything in this box. If you push the button, nobody's even going to know. Just push the button." Whatever. So she pushes the button. The guy shows up at the house with $1 million, takes his little box back, and right before he leaves, he says, she says, "Well, what's going to happen now?" He's like, "Well, I need to take my box back. I'm going to take it to somebody that you don't know." Meaning they're probably going to die now because they accepted it.
Right. So they're next on the chopping
Right.
block if
Right.
the person decides to take the
Right.
money.
And so now the movie's about them trying to stay alive because now they're going to die.
Oh, whoa.
And so that's what was going on in my head while you were asking that.
Who was in
Yeah.
that movie? Who was it? Do you remember?
Oh man, I'm failing. I don't.
Google half-face $1 million kill somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, in a USA Today survey from a decade ago, the majority of responses seemed to favor killing the person and saving the pet. Question number 2, would you rather be interested or interesting?
Will you ask the question again?
Would you rather be interested or interesting?
Interested is my answer.
Interesting.
I'd rather be interesting.
Most say interested, as would I, but it's a close vote.
What was your vote on the pet thing?
Can I just ask the questions and not have to give responses?
I'd have to kill a pet. I didn't answer.
Yeah, and I feel we
think
breezed
I would-
over the fact that you and I were so willing to kill a stranger,
Yeah.
like in a heartbeat. Like it didn't bother us at all. Like,
I
that
think-
might even be on my bucket list just to see if I can do it. I don't.
Yeah,
If you don't sleep with your CPAP on, you won't even remember anyway.
Exactly.
I'm
you
so
know.
quick to want to kill somebody. I think that there's, anonymously, there's probably more people that I want to kill
If you,
than
get
don't.
if you got to pick the person, the pet might.
Oh, yeah.
stay alive.
Yeah,
definitely,
right,
yeah.
right.
If I get to pick the people, I'm saving y'all's pets.
If that's,
I mean, that's
I was gonna say, if that's the case, go get the pet, go get Charlie right now and tell me you're gonna kill it, and I'm gonna run out and kill
Right,
about 3 people just because I want to. All right, if you were, oh, this is a good one. I know Amanda's answer, without question. If you were offered 1 year of quality of life in addition to how long you would have lived anyway, would you give up your cell phone for it right now?
no.
Yes.
God, no.
Thank you, Gary. Amanda would give up hers right now for nothing.
I would do that.
That surprises me. Would you
Wow.
really?
Yeah,
Give
I would do that.
Give up the phone forever,
Yeah, you got to give up your phone right now and
Forever.
you're forever.
and I get just an extra year at the end of my life.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are crappy years. Yeah.
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 Right. What good is life
Yeah,
without a phone?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I couldn't Google the movie. I mean,
You would have no more information.
Yeah, I
or-
was talking about that with a guy at work the other day, and like, you know how dependent you are on that Google, just Google in general, like that you don't remember anything anymore. Like, and I was saying like we should start doing like little projects or whatever where you build something or do something without, and you're not allowed to look up, like Amanda, for instance, would do like a test where what medicine do I give this person? You can't use any kind of reference. You just have to literally remember. And what's that doing to us, as a society?
oh well, then the test is have somebody write down directions somewhere on a piece of paper, and you can't use GPS to find it
Yeah.
because along the same lines, I think GPS kills us from learning how to go places.
Or just use
Yeah.
a map.
Right.
Just using a map in
Yeah.
general.
You don't have to know anything, and you don't have to know how to get anywhere.
You don't have to know the name.
I don't want to
streets.
know anything or want to know how to get anywhere.
I want to know, see, the reason that I didn't remember the name of that movie and who's in it is because I don't have to remember it. I could have just looked it up if I'd have just
Yep.
grabbed my phone. But I want to be able to say that movie called The Box.
I don't think
with-
that's why you couldn't remember it. Was simply because you have a cell phone. We are, Seth Godin wrote the other day that we are the sum total of everyone's knowledge. So we have as much knowledge available to us as anybody else. If somebody has it, it's out there. And to say that a cell phone is causing us to be less knowledgeable, I don't buy that.
Now, see, I might disagree because if you extrapolate it out over 3 or 4 generations, will they just be bumbling idiots that don't know how to do anything? They won't know how to invent anything. They won't know how to work anything out on their own.
I think that we'll have the same quotient of bumbling idiots as we had 50 years ago that we have today, which is a lot.
It's actually called The Box.
I don't know. I feel like I'm dumber because I don't know my brother's phone number.
Do you
I don't
not-
know my brother's
Do you
cell
know
phone
Wilson's
number.
phone number?
I do. I know my
I
mom,
know
my
Holly's
dad's,
phone number.
and I know Wilson's. That's it.
I don't know Abby, my daughter's phone number.
I don't know any of the kids' phone numbers. I know her phone number. I know my phone number. That's it. I don't know any of the kids' phone numbers.
I know my mom and dad's phone number.
Yeah, no, mom, dad, and Wilson. That's it.
Looking that up.
So if my phone were to drop in the water toilet or anything, the only people I can reach out to is my mom and my dad or Wilson.
But because you have a cell phone, that's all you would need to reach out to.
But if I dropped it and it was gone, I'd have to go borrow somebody's phone.
But there is something to be said for like disconnecting.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Now that I have like been taking breaks from Facebook to where I don't look at the news feed. You know how you look at the news feed and you see everybody's thing? Like I rarely do that at all anymore. And it's kind of almost a comforting feeling in a way. Like I don't know what's going on and that kind of feels good. You know, like
I love not knowing what's going on. I really do.
Yeah.
When you do that, do you feel the need to actually reach out to a friend that you hadn't talked to in a long time? Because you haven't been able to see what's going on in their life every minute,
so
every day?
so it's like, hey, I need to send a text or something to so and so because you know I don't know what he's up to.
Because
you know what I mean?
That's my thing. I mean, I have people that I would consider friends, really good friends. I haven't probably seen or spoken to in 5 years, but I got their whole life on my newsfeed.
But that's probably what you should do,
right? But I don't. But you feel like you don't have to check in with them because you can see their whole life right there on Facebook.
Right.
You know? You feel like you're in touch with them when you're really not.
Well, I think that we try to make a direct correlation between everything and everything else. And so it seems like that cell phones are the problem. Trophies are the problem. You know, that we're going to have bumbling idiots because of cell phones and we have whiny kids because of trophies, and nothing has to do with the human condition. You know, the fact that we have cell phones because we have a desire to attain knowledge and we want things to be convenient. And now we have them and they're frowned upon.
Yeah. So I'll tell one more quick thing because I know we're in an hour, but there's a show called The Leftovers that I've been watching, and spoilers if you're watching that show, but the second season starts with it shows this cave woman and she's pregnant and she's walking across she's just out. She gets up in the middle of the night, walks out of her cave where all of her other people are sleeping, and when she goes to go to the bathroom, and the whole cave collapses and kills everybody, all of her people, and they're all dead. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. So she just starts walking, and she has her baby, and so she starts carrying her baby, and she sees smoke off in the horizon. She's trying to walk over to find people. And she sets the baby down, climbs up in a tree, and grabs some eggs out of a nest and starts eating them. Well, while she's up there, a snake crawls up and starts wrapping around her baby. So she jumps down there, grabs the snake. The snake bites her, but her baby's okay. And so she's walking with the baby, but eventually she just dies because she got bit by a poisonous snake, and she's just dead, and her baby's there, and somebody else comes along and gets the baby, and then it ties into the story somehow. But what I was thinking was like, holy shit, like how far removed from that really happened at some point, that something like that,
Something that
tragic really did happen, because there were people that didn't have houses and phones and computers and food and all this stuff, and we are completely disconnected from that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm convinced that if any other country really wanted to wage war on this country, all they would have to do is shut down the internet for 2 weeks, and we would just implode. We would kill ourselves. We'd still have food and water and everything else, but if we couldn't tweet it or Facebook it, we'd be slitting each other's throats.
Hey, I would be the first to lead the lemmings off the cliff if they're
Yeah.
willing to go.
Yep.
I don't want to have anything to do with that. I like my phone. I like my technology. I like all that stuff. Okay. I said I had 6 questions. I've asked 4 of them. I think I've got 5 questions.
One more.
All right. I've only got 1 more. Now, it has to be 2. We got to make it quick.
Okay, 2 more.
If offered the certainty of a second life after your current one, but it would be a life of misery with no moments of happiness, would you take it?
No.
That's a stupid question.
That's a stupid question.
Okay, that's why I said that one would be fast.
You got these out of USA Today?
That was not as deep as I thought it was going to be. This one's good, though. This one is good. is there an emotional distinction between saying love you and I love you?
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Vaughn's not sold on it.
I agree with that.
I agree. It's so much more difficult. It's so much. I don't know what it is, but people do not wish to say "I love you." They'll say "Love you, bro."
Right.
Love you.
Love you is a salutation. I love you is a direct statement
Boom.
about how I feel about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm guilty of that. I had a friend that's going through a hard time, and it's a guy, so it was awkward, and I was just like, "Love ya."
And you consciously thought that.
Yeah.
I've consciously thought it a bunch of times that, I can't bring myself to text the I. Is it, do I love them enough to text the I? And it's like, that's crazy.
Yep.
Now there's like 100 people out there that just heard you say that, and they're like, he never puts the I.
They're
Well,
reading all their text messages.
I do. I almost always do. I do that. I'm, you know how I am. I mean, I'm totally like I love you. I love you.
I love you, man.
Like I need to do that. And I leave out the man intentionally. I want to make it like, I want you to know that I love you. It's the way that I am. It's how I roll. Love you. Lilas. I tell Vaughn Lilas all the time.
What?
Love you like a sister.
Oh. Never
You
heard
don't.
that
You didn't
before.
have Lilas?
You never heard,
Never
that,
heard that
before?
before,
How could you
no.
not?
I never had a sister.
Are we that much older than you?
It's cell phones.
So probably because you have a
They
cell
did all
phone.
this trophies. It's because they give kids trophies. That's what did it. All right, that's about it. Anything else y'all got to talk about?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
It's like I told you earlier, you gave me a microphone. I can sit here for 4 more hours.
You're my guy, Gary.
I appreciate you coming.
Pearls of wisdom right here. I give you anything you want. You want to
Yep.
talk about it? You give me a topic. We'll go.
You going to come back on here?
Absolutely.
Will you just come and hang out anytime?
Yes, if I'm allowed.
Yeah,
Am I allowed?
You should just be a
yeah.
permanent part of the show.
I just had to check to make sure I was.
like anytime you just come. If I said, man, we just need somebody to hang out.
Yeah.
He talks better than any of us on a microphone.
Yeah, there was a
you notice
microphone
Has
at
a radio voice.
Oh, and I didn't even get to do my summer movie voice. I really wanted to try that with the professional microphone.
well the first time that I didn't even really know you at our engagement party,
Yeah, me neither. That's when I kind of met. That's when I met.
and
Jake.
you were up there with a microphone.
For a
like,
split second, I was like, Wilson, we're not engaged. I was like, what are you talking about? Then you meant, oh, sorry.
Yeah, and you were all over that microphone.
Yeah, I
thought
love the
this guy's
microphone.
talented.
I love the microphone.
There it is. Now, if you do it really fast, it goes wow.
Yeah, you press and hold it real fast. There you go.
LHRL number 55 is in the books.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you. Thank y'all.